Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here at All Access Live with Kevin Rankin. Before we get started, please do me a favor. Go to the link below. Go to youtube.com/@xxkevin. From there, you can subscribe to this channel. You can like the video that you're watching right now. If you subscribe, you can go back and you can look through over 280 episodes that we've had on the show since the pandemic. And you can also become a member. And becoming a member gives you access to exclusive episodes that are not privy to those people just subscribing. So you can get access to episodes where I interviewed Cy Kernan from The Fix and Midyear from Ultravox. I've got this Kelly Kiki interview that I did from his place here in Phoenix in his backyard. So support the show. Go out to accesskevin.com. You can see all the episodes there. Go to youtube.com/@accesskevin and subscribe. Now, this show would not be available to you if it weren't for the support that I got from this guy. Joff Metz at 5-Star Guitars has made it possible for anybody out there to get great deals on guitars, accessories, lessons if you'd like. So if you want to be a rock star like a lot of my upcoming guests, go to the YouTube or the link below, 5starguitars.com/@accesskevin, or All Access 15 will give you 15% off everything you see. So you're going to save a bunch of money for watching the show and supporting the channel. But also, if you order online, there's no sales tax in Oregon. So you're saving a ton of dough and you're supporting this channel at the same time. Now, let me tell you about today's show. If you've not been to a Harefest tribute festival, then you're in for a treat. You just got to get yourself down to Canby, Oregon on July 14th and 15th at the Fairgrounds, where you're going to see tributes from amazing bands like Guns N' Roses tribute and Van Halen tributes and AC/DC tributes and Def Leppard tributes and Heart tributes. So many tributes. I've got singers from all these bands right here, as well as a couple of other special members. So I'm going to bring them on one by one. And this show is co-hosted by the illustrious, the unique, and special Mr. Dan Bozyk. Oh, he's showing off his Harefest merch right there. So Dan Bozyk, let's take a look at Mark Thomas. We've got Danny Dean. We got Frank Murray. We've got Evan Barry. We've got Marco Ferrari. So far, we're representing a good chunk of these tributes. Not everybody can be here today, but we got some of the best. So thank you guys all for being here.
Hey, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, I love this.
Finally took off the mask.
Yes, man. That's good. Just like
I
good family show here. I love it. Hey, Dan, before you describe your moniker there, why don't we go through one by one? We'll have each person of the bands here introduce themselves, talk about the band that they're in, and what time and date you guys are playing. So next to Dan, we've got the beautiful Evan Barry.
Oh, hey. I am in the tribute band to AC/DC, Shoot to Thrill. I'm the lead singer, and we play Friday at 8 o'clock.
All right. And the guy at the space station?
Yeah, hey, this is Frank Murray from Petty Fever, and we're on stage Saturday the 15th at 3 p.m.
Beautiful. All right. How about the guy up north?
Hey, I'm Danny Dean, the token Canadian and best of both worlds. I wrap cables and get coffee for the guys. We're going to be on stage on Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
Fantastic. And Mr. Ferrari?
Hi, guys. So it's Marco Lago Ferrari. I'm your friendly neighborhood Nikki Six in Dr. Crew, Motley Crue tribute. We're playing Friday night on the 14th at 6 p.m. I'm sorry, 9 p.m. And then I'm also your friendly Rick Savage of Hysteria Def Leppard tribute, and that's going to be on Saturday, and that set is at 6 p.m.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. And then wrapping this one up, this is nice. He's doing carpool karaoke with James Corden. I think we've got Mark Thomas. Why don't you tell him who you are? Hey, Mark Thomas.
I don't know if you're give me a wave or something.
That's you.
Talking about me? My connection's real sketchy. Go to rehearsal still, but But
And that's all you get.
Mark Thomas with Appetite for Deception. I get to sing, and we are on Saturday night in the 10 o'clock slot.
Excellent. Right on. Hey, real quick, I should let people know as you get excited about this show. Now that you know a few of the guys that are paying tribute to these artists, you go to the link below, get out your phones, hit this QR code right there. That QR code is going to take you to get tickets. So scan that code, grab your tickets. They've got tickets for the first day, the second day. They've got festival passes for the entire time, as well as a couple of other specialty tickets. So scan it. I'm going to pull it off camera now, but I'll be bringing it back on in a little bit. But while we do this, I'm going to have Dan Bozyk talk a little bit about your involvement in Harefest.
Which part and from how far back, man? How long do you want this story to go?
All right, so we're on Harefest 11, man. So how long have you been involved in this organization?
You know what? I'm really the most lazy person on the team. I just get to talk about it, and that's kind of my whole deal. So everybody else gets to do all their rehearsing and stuff. I'm basically telling people, hey, heard about Harefest? Hey, you want to go to Harefest? Right? I get to be a lazy ass this whole time, just kind of kick back and enjoy all of these guys being super talented and stuff.
When did you start working with Harefest?
Man, I think I got there. So I started to get involved. I think Harefest 3 and 4 was when I was back with 105.9 The Brew, and then we were just kind of, a media partner. But then when I left that iHeartRadio job, Jason came to me and said, "Hey, man, I need somebody who kind of does some of the things you do to help, with a bunch of the ventures that I've got going on. Harefest being one of them." And it just turned out to be, obviously, you'll hear this from everybody that's ever been a part of it. You join this amazing family of people that really love what they're doing, really love bringing people together, really making a good time for a whole bunch of people. And, it was real easy to get sucked in and become part of the team/family that this whole thing is based on. It's kind of ridiculous, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a community. I mean, Danny actually pointed this out before we went live, and he talked about the community part of this. And people that have gone to Harefest already know this, right? Once you've gone to one Harefest, it's not like somebody says, I don't think I'm going to go to that again. That never, ever happens. The word of mouth passes on.
Yeah.
And I think that, the beautiful thing, the person who's not here is responsible for the entire thing, right? I mean, Jason Fellman of JFL Presents is the guy who is the mastermind behind the entire thing. And between him and Joan Monin from the Wild Hair, they had this brainchild, right, to bring a tribute festival to the community and really make this like a one-of-a-kind event, probably the biggest tribute festival in the country. So, like, speaking of that, maybe talk a little bit maybe about your work with Jason and how you help get the word out to people to find out about this outside the community, because people fly in from all over the place. I know people come in and they get married from around the country, and they make this a destination for their summertime. So how do you kind of spread the word outside the Portland area?
Well, I mean, these bands make it easy because basically we're just leveraging the power and the influence of social media. And all these bands have these phenomenal video clips and really amazing, photos of themselves on stage, like really getting into it, really, bringing these classic, legendary rock and roll acts to the stage in vision at the very least, and usually pretty much album perfect. So we've got all this content to be able to share, and it just makes it real easy to connect to people that are fans of this music that, that's been with them their whole lives. And now, 13, years in, 11 Harefests, we've got people bringing the kids that were, just, teenagers and tweens when they were first starting to go to Harefest. So we've got, the adult children showing up with their parents now to this thing, man. It's that kind of party. It's really fun.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, not, it's interesting that that you mentioned that. It is kind of a family thing now. I know that a lot of people that that come to this show have been able to bring their kids out now as they've gotten older. And for a little while too, they tested. I know Jason had tried to do maybe a third day of this festival, right? But every year he ups the ante a little bit, and test the waters to see what works and what doesn't. What's kind of unique about this year? I know that you're at the Fairgrounds this year at Canby, which is I think second year that you guys have done this. Is that right?
This is the second year at the Clackamas County Fairgrounds. Yeah. Okay.
And you also too in this, you mentioned Harefest 11, but in the last 13 years. So that goes without saying. The reason that we had a little time off was because some crazy pandemic happened and shut the entire world down, right? So last year was the first time back, right after the pandemic shut things
Yeah,
down.
and last year, even, I mean, as big as it was, it still felt like a rebuild, right? It still felt like we weren't hitting full speed. This year, geez, man, this is, I mean, everything is going to be hitting just right. All the bands are stoked about it. Nobody's had to take 2 years off of playing live music, so everybody's in shape and ready for it. My God, man, if ever there was a year to go to Harefest, this is the one.
This is it. Yeah, man. I selfishly, and I've mentioned this, I am a huge fan of all the guys that you see on camera right now, both in bands and outside of bands. But I wanted to get you guys all together because sometimes we don't get a chance to hang when I've been there, either performing or just attending Harefest. And to get you guys in one room and shooting the breeze is kind of badass. I've got a personal favorite, somebody that I hadn't seen in a while. Well, first of all, let me say, I am very blessed to have gotten to play with Mr. Evan Barry, right? So I did a lot of years with Shoot to Thrill. And so this is our reunion here right now. So, Evan, thank you for being here, buddy.
Absolutely.
And I see you shoved your daughter off camera. So
I put her back in her kennel.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah. No, now, this is what? How many years has Shoot to Thrill been a part of Harefest?
We were back. Our first one was Harefest 3, I think.
Okay.
And we've been in every year since. So it's been awesome. It's been pretty spectacular.
Of course, all the ones that I've been at were the ones that were your favorite. I know, but do you have anything in particular?
Obviously.
Yeah. Do you have any that stand out to you, experiences that have just been like memorable beyond belief?
I mean, I don't think it gets. I met my wife at Harefest, and
there you go.
And
Nice.
so that's. I guess that. I mean, I love you, Kevin, but that's probably the biggest thing that's come from Harefest, and that's it's pretty great. It's a really fun experience, and it's it's really hard to explain because it is just basically 3 straight days of fun.
Yeah.
Even just getting to as a musician, I'm very I'm lucky, and I'm very grateful that I get to hang out with the other musicians. Like as you say, it is really a family. It's like a brotherhood. You get to hang out and talk to people that you don't really get to talk to because you're always playing, and you guys might have conflicting dates and stuff like that. So it's really cool to get together and talk with people and hang out and watch each other play. Because again, you don't always get that opportunity. I have a 3-year-old, so I have zero social life. But that's kind of the experience in a nutshell. It's just kind of a big, great music community that comes together and has a big party for a couple days.
Yeah. You talk about this party that everybody gets together. Now, everybody here on this panel has probably done this. Even if you don't have a social life, Evan, right now, think about the last time you spent money to go see a festival, right? A show or a series of shows where you want to go see bands you're really into. I'm going to read off this lineup, and you think about where you could find these artists in one place over a weekend, where you can get this for under, for about the cost of a good meal out. We've got tributes to Blondie. We've got tributes to Ozzy and Black Sabbath, tributes to Fleetwood Mac, tribute to Boston, AC/DC, Motley Crue, Queen, Beastie Boys. You've got the tribute to the sounds of the 70s with Red Light Romeos, of course. Then you've got Doobie Brothers and Hall & Oates. You got Steve Miller Band. You got Foreigner, Tom Petty, Eagles, Heart and Led Zeppelin, Def Leppard, Metallica, Van Halen, Journey, Guns N' Roses, wrapping it up with Pink Floyd. So that many bands in one place, right? That's a recipe for explosion of goodness, right? So yeah, like Evan said, he met his wife there. A lot of people do find they forge relationships, not just romantic ones, right? But they form long-lasting friendships. And Bozyk and I first hooked up there, I think, right?
Yeah,
so
short
neither one
relationships too. Yeah, totally.
Hooked up.
Yeah, neither one of us got pregnant. That was good. But hey, so this is fun, man. So like as you announced, Marco, when you first hopped on, Marco, you're representing 2 different bands, right? So you want to talk a little bit about how you first came in with Hysteria, and then bringing in your Motley Crue tribute. I'm really excited about seeing this one this year.
Yeah, so we played. I guess this is our 4th year in Harefest, and the first year was, I think, the last year they ever did the Sundays. So we went on stage at about 4 in the afternoon, maybe 100 people in attendance, and it was about 100 degrees on stage.
Oh yeah.
And we still brought it, and apparently Jason was blown away. He's like, "Oh, if you could do that for the smaller crowd and under those temperatures, you guys got it." And so the core of us, myself on bass, Sean Wara as our Joe Elliott, and Doug Sisler as the Phil Collin of that band. Well, we're also the core of the Motley Crue tribute, Dr. Crue. And so he was blown away by what we brought to the table with the Def Leppard tribute. And he said, all right, if you guys are even half as good in the Motley Crue band that you are with Def Leppard, we'll give you a shot. And here we are. Now we're collectively 4 years in and love every minute of it.
Right on. Yeah. As Marco pointed out too, guys, if you're watching this right now and you haven't yet seen a Harefest, one thing that you might be surprised by if you've seen other tribute acts, and I'm going to dispel some of the rumors right now, and maybe we can get into this a little bit, the cover band versus tribute band argument, right? So a lot of people that don't realize that tributes are a completely different animal, right? A tribute really does encompass the honoring of the style, the image, the sound, everything that kind of goes along with the band that you may have seen as the original act. Now, every single person you see here represents these bands at 100% of authenticity, as close as you can get. I mean, these bands have spent thousands of hours dedicating their craft to make sure that the experience is something that if you squint your eyes, you feel like you're there at a Def Leppard show, you're there at a Tom Petty show. And so this is not just like you're going to your neighborhood bar and you're going to see a cover band. This is a whole weekend where you're going to see professionals that have dedicated their craft to give you the best experience possible. So, hey, Dan, why don't you introduce a couple of guys here and maybe talk to them a little bit about their experiences with Harefest.
I just want to talk a little bit more about Hysteria's Trial by Fire. They really got thrown into it because that was the hottest Harefest on record. That was like upper 90s. They played like middle of Saturday afternoon and they killed it. They crushed it, but they looked like they were ready to melt the whole time, man. But that was a legendary performance. And then like every Harefest has one band that just kind of stands out that goes, whoa, where did those guys come from? Because I remember Harefest 4, the last one at the Wild Hair Saloon. I think it was Unchained, the other Van Halen tribute. Then the year after that, Harefest 5, I believe it was Grand Royale was the band that everybody's like, whoa, where are these guys?
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Harefest 6 is the first time that we got to see Aerosmith Rocks with Danny Dean down here. And they just completely blew everybody's mind. I mean, Danny is one of the most dedicated performers I've ever seen because, dude, all the stuff you record all kinds of classic rock songs. You're doing YouTube videos of Van Halen songs forever, and I'm so happy to see you get a chance to really do this with a band now, man. This is going to be so much fun because last year when 5150 played, Danny came out. They did some David Lee Roth songs, and they sounded great. They've had so much more time to rehearse, so much more time to prepare and actually put together an authentic Van Halen show. Danny, talk a little bit about that. What do you think you're going to see or do differently this year than what you got to do last year?
Well, we're going to play a whole bunch of material instead of a walk-on of a couple of songs.
Right.
And the integrated fit, the way that we put together the show with the trade-offs between me and Derek Munson, who portrays Sammy Hagar. We are truly the best of both worlds. It's just a celebration of Van Halen, and I'm so grateful that we get an hour to do that because, there's just so much material to dig into in that catalog, both sides of it respectively. But my entry back into it is so super cool because it's in many ways, I'm doing something completely different, portraying a couldn't be, more diametrically opposed in terms of personality and presentation, maybe just as flamboyant of a wardrobe. But, it's really different. But I'm stepping right back into where I kind of left off with the last Harefest that Aerosmith Rocks did. And that story unto itself is really cool. And it was actually Jason that there was some prompting and some background, because he knew that I had been flirting with the guys from Unchained after they were looking for a new DLR. And COVID put the lid on them, right? They wanted to work locally. So God bless them, they found Derek and they were able to rebirth themselves as 5150 and really put a new shine on that band, because he brought a whole bunch of special stuff. And things were opening back up for Harefest. But during that time with COVID, Aerosmith Rocks just didn't survive the life encounters that happen off stage, right? And so Jason said, well, we're having our 10th anniversary finally, and it just wouldn't be the same without you. How about you come on down? I'll bring you down. Can't tell anybody, but you have to get on stage with 5150 and do a couple of DLR songs So it was super cool to walk out there and see so many familiar faces that had no idea that I was in attendance. I was, low key backstage with Kevin Rankin and some other folks in their campsite, but what a thrill and what an honor and a privilege to step right back into things and be back with this community, my fam away from home.
And then, you know what? And then there's the guys that come year in, year out, and just absolutely slay every time and surprise nobody because they're always great. Appetite for Deception is definitely one of those. Stone and Love goes without saying. And then there's Frank Murray, the legend down here. Frank, what do you have to say about the way the Harefest developed over the years? Because this certainly ain't your first rodeo, nor his.
Well, I think the first time we did Harefest, it was one of those super hot days, like you were talking about, and I think it was almost 100 degrees. That was my first experience with Harefest, and in the afternoon, and I was that close to passing out, and I didn't want to be the guy in the 11 o'clock news, so I just kept drinking water, and I vamped on. I think it was the waiting for 2 minutes, just going. I just kept going like this, and then the stars stopped spinning around my head. So anyway, that was my first Harefest experience, and then every time we've done it, it's just been more fun. I've got a group of friends that I've met through Harefest, and it's a reunion every year, and it's just the coolest thing. That's one of the great things I love about it. And then just playing for a crowd of people that are there just to see their favorite bands. I mean, that's what it's all about. Just those people are, it's a rock concert. And it's
for sure.
I can't describe it any other way. That it just I feel like we're kind of experiencing a real rock concert with the people that just want to be there and enjoy their favorite artists.
Yeah, it kind of feels equal parts rock concert and family reunion every year. It really does.
Right. Yeah. Because all the stuff, the peripheral stuff that happens off stage and out, because they've got, one thing that we didn't really talk about were camping opportunities, right? So people can come out, they can camp all weekend, they can party and they do everything safe, right? You can eat, you can drink, you can hang out, go back to your campsite, or you can go back to your RV and sort of commune with the rest of the people there. So once you spend time, eating and sitting and talking with people about the experiences out there, the bond gets a little bit stronger. And I know, I remember a few years ago hearing about, somebody coming in from Texas. They had heard about Harefest, and they came out, they caught the show, met at Harefest, and then came back the following year and got married out in the parking lot. And I thought that, if you were going to explain to somebody that didn't know what Harefest was all about. Like, wait a minute, you went cross country and got married in a parking lot of a tribute festival, but it's legit. I mean, you guys have had musicians getting married on stage, at the shows. So it is a really special thing, and I think we need that kind of community, right? I mean, after the pandemic, people really kind of were sort of driven apart in a lot of ways. I mean, everybody was isolated, of course, but this is an opportunity for the community to come back around. Uh, we talked about people dedicating their time to their craft. One of those people is Mark Thomas, he's trying to get service right now because he's on his way to practice. He's on his way to rehearse this thing, and they got one last shot to rehearse this thing. And so when his exit comes up here on his next turn, and he gets signal, I'm gonna have him talk a little bit because the guys in this band have committed a decade and a half to their perfection of Guns N' Roses, right? And anybody that's seen Appetite for Deception knows that it's beyond a labor of love. I mean, they've probably come to blows many a time, trying to perfect this thing. And with Harefest 11 on Saturday night, the band is going to culminate to make that sort of their retirement gig. And so it's one thing to commune with everybody and have this become family, but this is also kind of a neat way for everybody to experience, their mark in history. This is decades of time for them, right? So we'll get to that. And in the meantime, we can just talk about him, while he can't hear us. So,
or we can let Frank pick up his guitar, play a few bars of the Waiting.
Oh yeah. Actually, you know what I want to do? I'm all about putting people on the spot. But did you bring a guitar with you up in space, Frank?
Well,
All right. Let's hear it, buddy. Hey, I'm all about putting you on the spot. Let's hear it. Yeah, so good, man. So good. Yeah, and guys, everybody watching this, that didn't cost you a dime, right? So you're welcome. If we're putting people on the spot, there's somebody on this thread that I've seen just like on a whim, just pull voices out of the air. Danny Dean, I'm totally going to put you on the spot, man. And this doesn't have anything to do with your Van Halen tribute. I would love, since we're not going to get a chance to see you do the Aerosmith Rocks live, can you give me a little Steven Tyler?
Oh boy. Here comes Mark, just in time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you could think about that one. You don't have to go right off the bat. But
we were going to turn it over to him while the wire was hot, right?
Yep. Yeah. Mark Thomas. He's walking through a field. He's trying to hold his phone up. And he's going to see if he can get a cell tower. Hey, Mark Thomas. I don't know if you got to hear while you were. I
was waiting.
You're commuting. Yes.
He's still looking.
We got a little Frank Thomas serenade. This is awesome. Hey, Mark, go climb to the top of the tower and see if that signal gets better.
All right, Danny, back to you.
Yeah. So yeah, Danny.
When I met you, now I'm trying to forget you. Your love is sweet misery. Yeah.
Yo, yes, man. And all that without a headdress.
There you go.
No headdress, no scarves, and he still pulls it off, man. I love it. Hey, let me ask you, Danny.
Yes,
Danny.
Yes.
How many times have you seen Van Halen personally with the David Lee Roth episodes?
I've never seen Van Halen.
Really?
I've never seen them live. I've fawned over them for years. Hey, I'm the northern boy, right? They only came into our market so many times, and when they did, the first time, were the most impactful time. I was simply too young for it, right? It was a little bit. I didn't discover them until I was, maybe 14. Once I did, there was no turning back.
Okay.
And we have Mark again to save my ass.
Hey, Mark, can you hear us? Well, while he's getting his connection going,
Now,
let,
I should have stayed home.
there we go. Yeah, but I'm glad you found a cornfield to climb into. That's good.
Talk about
Hey,
dedication.
question. Yeah, no kidding, man. Hey, Mark Thomas, how many shows has Appetite for Deception performed?
For you, and how many shows?
Honestly, it's about 500.
Wow. Yeah. And this is it, right? The show on July 15th. This is it. This is the final show for Appetite.
Yeah, it's the grand finale. We've done an awful lot. I'm not really sure what else we could do except for keep doing the same thing we've already done. You keep swinging for the fence, hoping there's going to be one more big thing, but I'm not really sure what it is. No legacy act wants to pick you up and carry you around. So it's really more tribute festivals, and it's as great as they all are. They're all kind of the same. I will always miss the experience. I would do this forever and ever and ever, but at the risk of losing some of the integrity of what the band has built. I mean, the legacy bands can't even keep it up forever. So, I would rather walk away when I think, okay, I think we've done what we can. Now let's just leave it for everybody else.
But I'm curious because every year Appetite is played, you guys have always made an effort to up the game, right? You brought in the cannons, right? You brought those huge steam cannons in. You had the couch episode, right? You had the couch show that you came and played. And you had background singers and horn players and all this crazy stuff. Any surprises that you have coming up that you could share with us, or do we have to wait and see?
You're going to have to wait and see. But, I mean, we've taken it to as much of a use your illusion. But 2 keyboard playing vocalists, additional lights. Izzy, Michael Killian and the band has done all kinds of crazy stuff with steel, building, ramps and things like that, ramps and risers, and just so we could do everything we could with it. And we bought a banner that was obviously probably bigger than most of the big, A-team bands would even have, which doesn't work real well in smaller venues, we came to find out, but it looks good on a big stage.
That's exciting, man. The people that haven't seen Harefest should probably know. I mean, every one of the guys that's not on camera right here has put in additional, like, thousands of hours. Mark talked a little bit about Michael Killian being this sort of this metalsmith, right? So he fabricates all this stuff to help up the game for the show. He builds all this crazy pyrotechnic type stuff and stagecraft type stuff. But the amount of dedication that everybody brings in, a lot of people don't realize, and they don't get credit for a lot of the time that people spend perfecting their show. Like Evan, I'm sure he knows. Maury Brown, the Malcolm Young of that band, spends a lot of time on Twitter, promoting, himself and the Harefest. But
he's a great social media guy. He does great at it.
Yeah, he really is. Oh, speaking of social media and marketing, right? So how and so we talked a little bit at the beginning of the show about Dan Bozyk. You handle so much of the marketing in terms of the social media aspect of this, but the rest of you guys, I mean, do you have people specific in the band that focus on your own personal marketing this way? So how about you, Marco? You want to talk a little bit about how you guys promote?
Yeah, so social media and promo, I'm the guy. And it's just been years worth of work and trial and error. And now it's like I feel I have it down to a science. But like you said, it's like I get home from work and then I do my second job. And that's it. It never ends. I mean, there's always something to do in terms of Facebook, Instagram, bands in town, the website, the email list, to keep things rolling and building and developing. But, other guys in the band, Sean, our singer, fundamental in just making all the details happen. I mean, he created our Shout at the Devil costumes.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, he's crazy like that. But and the attention to detail at rehearsals, like harmonies, he's always pounding on that. And then we've got Doug Sisler, who is the Mick Mars and the Phil Collin. He's kind of the other part of this trifecta where he handles all like travel, and just like when we're doing out of state or flyouts or whatever, we task that to him. And then the other guys help in ways that they can as well. But it's definitely a labor of love. Like you said, there are a bazillion hours I put in that I'd never get paid for. But when I'm involved with something, I'm in it 110% or I'm not in it at all. And with these bands, I'm so passionate about them, and the way that we're able to take the authenticity of the 80s version of Motley Crue and Def Leppard to the level where people just think that, holy crap, we are at that concert in 1983 or 85, whatever.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. Man, Dan, you want to talk a little bit about what else kind of goes on behind the scenes to make this show happen? You want to talk about the sponsors?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, this is the first year Harefest had a title sponsor, and it's Emmerich Construction. So it's kind of huge that they came in and offered this, huge chunk of support to Harefest, which I would like to say is because they love bringing quality entertainment to the people in their community. But, it's 50% and also 50% that some of the key sponsors get these awesome party tents with awesome views of the stage straight back, right? I mean, the party tents that the sponsors put together, they have fun, man, because they come in and decorate them up and stuff. But they're doing stuff. 5-Star Guitars, actually, I just found this out. You're making news right here. Nobody knows about this yet, but they came up with this Epiphone Les Paul Studio / model Sunburst guitar that's going to be signed by all of these guys, all the musicians that played Harefest. And then they're giving that away at 5-Star Guitars. You'll be able to register at Harefest. So there's that going on. 503 Distilling showed up last year, and their canned cocktails are phenomenal. They are giving away the last RV spot tomorrow. Those sold out in like 5 minutes after they went on sale. So they've been a huge supporter. And then we've got, of course, the Coors labels and Deschutes Brewing Company and Hop Valley Brewing and Modelo, Monster, Smirnoff, all the beverage brands, White Claw. I mean, they're key in helping making all this happen. And we got to thank, Quantum Fiber and Canby Building Supply. They're awesome. Clink Scales. So we got a place to go. They do portable toilets and stuff. But yeah, it's and then Aviation Gin sponsors that Hippie Hollow stage, which is the same size as all the other stages this year. So yeah, there are no small stages at Harefest 11. It's this whole thing is pretty well built up because of the fact that we've gotten all this awesome sponsorship. It's like I said, if there was ever a Harefest to go to, all signs point to 11.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. Hey, somebody that talk about authenticity, we have to bring up, and you mentioned Frank earlier, Dan. But Frank, the first time I saw you do your gig, it was evident to me that you put in the time, you put in the effort. How many gigs have you done as Petty Fever out there?
Wow. Let's see. It'll be our 15th year coming up. So, I don't know. Getting close to 500, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. We're about averaging. Well, before COVID, we're on a roll. We were averaging about 60 shows a year, and so
that's almost a full-time job, man.
It is my full-time job.
Yeah.
The social media is half of it. Oh boy!
Yeah. By the way, I got to set the record straight. I don't want it to appear that I haven't done my homework for this new act that I'm a part of. But you asked me if I'd ever seen Van Halen. Although I've never seen Van Halen, I did work on Dave's crew for the Skyscraper tour. So
you did? Okay.
Yes, I was a local stagehand with a local rigging company that did a lot of shows. So it was just a one-off. But man, I used my pass well that night. I watched
I'll
the
bet you
man up
did.
close. I watched him from the 20th row. I watched him from the 100th row kind of thing to get the full picture. And I watched from side stage. Not only that, but I met the man and Steve Vai afterwards, which was
I was going to say that was still Steve and Billy both on that tour, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been, let's see, the only one who wasn't in the lineup at that point was Billy Sheehan had left, and it was the other Bissonette brother had come in to play bass.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of, 1 degree off of their top end stride there. And man, we'll talk about because don't get me wrong, like one of the reasons why I've never really delved into a whole Van Halen thing is that I never felt that I had the team worthy of it, quite frankly. And,
Right.
And there wasn't really the room for it in the marketplace when I wanted to come to market for it. And what I observed was there was this big, big hole for a great Aerosmith band in the Pacific Northwest, right? And a great catalog of music. Well, that died of its own weight. And now this opportunity has come up to finally play with some cats who I think are worthy of me turning back on my Danny Lee Roth from the club days, because this is really a big part of my backstory in terms of some of the first material that I cut my teeth on. So I have to do a little bit of a harder sell for our act. We did get a Saturday night spot, and we're going to earn our ticket for sure, brothers. So best of both worlds. I'm really looking forward to showing off what we've done, because not only have I done the work from afar, but the team has done really hard work. It's been really precarious to put it together, right? Because I can only spend so many hours with those guys, and but everybody's done their homework, right?
That's just because of the distance between you two, not
Exactly.
not because they're difficult guys. Because I know, for sure, having worked with Jim Smoltz in that band, when I was with Steel Horse. Jim is one of the greatest dudes to be in a band with. I'm sure it's got to be a lot of fun.
That's man. He's my we're misery loves company with both of us. We share the load and all the stuff that goes wrong right off stage, and coordinate all our next moves. And although I'm not boots on the ground, we have this really mutual kind of respect for our each other's leadership skills. And let's face it, this band has a huge history as friends and as a band within this market for many years before I came into the picture. And so I have to defer to so much of that stuff. And that creates, we're still kind of getting settled with the whole marketing aspect of our band. It's created a conundrum where the only pictures we're going to get for the band are the ones we're just about to play, the next show and those types of things. So we're cultivating all we can and trying really hard to bring this band to market with a big shine. And I'm super proud of what we put together, and I can't wait for the next Harefest, man. And quite frankly, I come from the hugs and high fives backstage. But speaking of which, I got to give props to, I don't know if Bozyk was involved, but the marketing team for Harefest to put a real super cool promo together that's circulating around Facebook that talks from it sound bites from the audience perspective. And it's really cool because I think one of the testimonials talks about even it's a really cool place to come even by yourself, because you're sure to meet kindred spirits. And my takeaway, man, was it's this big high school reunion, but everybody just went to different high schools. Everybody's going to have so many things in common and share so many of the same kind of similar stories. They just happen in different times or places, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
absolutely.
So kudos on that.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, that's a fun reel. We just dropped that yesterday afternoon on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and that it really does kind of tell the story of who goes, right, and why they go. It's a really neat clip. I like that too. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right on.
Look who showed up like a typical drummer. He shows up a little bit late, right? But looking glorious as ever. So I'll unmute you here, buddy. Andrew Green, thanks for coming to the show, bud.
Hey,
thanks. Someone had to join. Listening to Mark cut in and out was killing me.
Mark is still on his way. I can see he off camera. He's still trying to make it into a room that actually has cell reception. So
we've always said about Mark, he's trying.
Okay, all right. I'm going to let you in on a little. Here, that is the little secret with a flock of seagulls, right? We all chide each other when we when we come off stage, we'll look at each other and we'll say, "No, you did your best." And it's the condescending sort of passive aggressive thing that keeps people loving each other. So ladies and gentlemen that don't know, Andrew Green here is not only the drummer from Appetite for Deception, but in the tribute world, he's also a singer of Alice in Chains tribute. Plays drums for Jukebox Heroes, Foreigner tribute, and I think you've got your hand in many other projects going on. But I wanted you here because I know that as you mentioned on the Appetite episode, this is Appetite for Deception's last show. So I wanted to give as much credence to the band and everything that they put in the last 15 years together to culminate at Harefest 11. What does this mean? What does this particular show mean for you?
Honestly, I don't think I have let myself deal with it yet. That way it's nothing will get in the way. I'm sure afterwards I'll be packing up drums, like crying and sobbing and stuff. But like,
there's no crying in baseball.
This isn't baseball. This is like a tribute to baseball.
Yeah, right.
From a larger stance, I am doing my best to focus on just the gratitude for having been part of something so special, for lack of a better word, for so long.
You guys have shed a lot of blood, sweat, and tears together. I know it for sure.
Yeah. There's something uniquely familial about that group.
Yeah.
And even though 4 of us are still, doing stuff together in Jukebox, it's different. You know what I mean? Every situation is different. So, other than I'll miss it, I don't know what else to say.
Well, I'm curious, man. Did you guys all, as a Guns N' Roses tribute, did you guys ever see the original band all together live? Did you guys ever catch them on tour?
We did. We did a show in the Seattle area somewhere. I can't remember what it was, and it just so happened that GNR was playing, ironically, with Alice in Chains opening up the night before. So all of us went the night before and saw them. We weren't all sitting together, but we were kind of separated. But it was pretty cool because we're the type of band who always would, like, if ever there was footage of the show, almost immediately after the show, we'd be in the RV watching the show, watching the game footage, taking notes, and so it was interesting to see the real band. And honestly, at that point, Axl had kind of been maligned. His voice, wasn't. The expectations were fairly low, and it was like 2 hours plus, and the whole time was amazing.
Did you guys go in character?
No.
I think that's it, man. You got to keep
stuff in character, but we didn't do that in character.
I got to ask Evan. Evan, man, for you, like, how many times have you seen AC/DC live?
By myself.
Good job. Once I got to see them right before Brian Johnson took his leave of absence for his hearing. I got to see them down in San Francisco at pretty sure it was AT&T Park. And it was amazing. We were sitting right behind home plate. They were playing in center field, but it was close enough to get the idea. It was extremely fun, and AC/DC's been my favorite band since I was a little kid. It's probably around her age. So,
did you see him with Axl at all?
I never saw him with Axl. No, I got to see. I saw him with Brian right before Axl took over.
People that don't know as well, the special thing about Evan here with Shoot to Thrill AC/DC tribute is that the Angus Young character is Evan's dad, right? So this is definitely a family thing. You talked about meeting your wife at Harefest. Your pop is up there, playing Angus Young and getting carried around on stage, and now you've got Winterberry trying to steal the thunder from your time here on the show.
She calls him Papa Rock and Roll. That's
funny. That's what I call him too. So,
But getting to experience this with my father is amazing. He was big into rock and roll back before I was born, and then I came around and he hung up his guitar strap, and then eventually it came full circle, and we have been in a band together for now. We've been in a band together since I was like 20, so 14 years, but
Wow.
Shoot to Thrill's been about 11 years, I believe.
Okay. Wow. But I definitely feel blessed to have gotten to share a lot of those years with you on stage, man. And I'm excited this year in particular. It just happened that we had a week off, and so I'm driving back to Portland, and I'm gonna get there just in time to be able to come and catch Harefest this year, which is to me, it's the highlight of my don't tell my band. This is the highlight of my summer. So do you with the amount of years that you've been here, with the guys that are here on the show, tell me about a memorable time that you had watching one of these other performers at past Harefest. Evan.
Well, I gotta honestly, there'd be no Shoot to Thrill if there was no Appetite for Deception, because we got our start opening shows for them at Dante's and all that, a bunch of places like that. So really just watching Mark and his professionalism and everything that he has shown me on how to be part of this industry has been a huge help. I can't thank him enough. You're the best, man.
I love that we get to hear your daughter. That is so adorable. Yeah, she's a big part of these shows too. And I know that Evan, your wife Stephanie, also has been a big part in the past at Harefest, because they have an incredible merch town, right? So this is not just a standard merch booth that you might see at a concert venue. Dan, do you want to talk a little bit about the merch center there at Harefest and what they offer?
All I know
Daniel.
is Cheryl Bland is a wizard at all the merch things, and does an amazing job of interfacing with all the bands. She's got this street team that she's put together that helps her out in there, that just make the place look as good as any retail operation that you've ever seen. They've got. They do so much work into putting putting designs out, the Harefest shirt designs that people really love and wear year round. And it's Cheryl's the wizard there, man. I just watch it happen and I'm amazed. But that crew that works in there with her, I'm going to blank on all the names, so I'm not even going to start because I'll leave somebody out. So I'm just going to leave them all out because that seems like the diplomatic thing to do. They're all.
What they can do is if they go to the channel below, they go to youtube.com/@XSKevin, scroll back about 8 episodes, and you're going to find that I had an entire episode with Cheryl Bland talking about her dedication to Harefest and what she does there with the merchandise. So every single band that you see on here, plus all the bands that you don't see, have this huge array of merchandise. And then they've got all sorts of branded merchandise for Harefest. And I know they have a ton of swag stuff that they also have from the sponsors and from Harefest itself. So, subscribe to the channel. Plus, there's all sorts of goodness. Several of the guys that you see on this channel have been on the show in the past and in some regard. But, Frank, what was the first Harefest you remember seeing before you actually performed?
That was the first one. I was playing somewhere prior Harefest same night, so I wasn't able to go. So that I can't remember what year that was. My memory isn't that good. No. I was blown away because I hung out after our show because we played earlier, and it was something new for me because it was still early on in my tribute days. So. And I remember seeing Appetite that night, and you guys blew me away. So.
Yeah. You really do set the stage. One thing, we don't have Stone in Love represented here on the show, but Jason Fellman, JFL Presents, who puts on the entire Harefest, his organization has, he brought Stone in Love, the Journey tribute, to light about the same time that I remember him talking about seeing Appetite for the first time as well. And I remember him telling me, I was on my way to the NAMM convention. So people that outside the music business, there's a huge convention in LA every year called the NAMM convention, and musicians go. I was there with a bunch of Portland musicians, and then Jason had told me on the way. He said, "While you're gone, I have this huge show I put on at the Aladdin, where my Journey tribute is going to play." Now, the Aladdin Theater, it's a 1,000-seater in Portland, Oregon. It's a beautiful historic theater, and I thought there is no way he's going to be able to sell out a theater of 1,000 people to a tribute show. And not only did he sell out the very first show that he got that venue, but now he's got this Harefest tribute festival, 3 days long, where he's getting upwards of 5 to 10,000 people every year, right? So, Dan, you probably know the figures a lot more than I do, but I know that when you go there, it feels like you're at a legitimate Monsters of Rock festival with a lot more bands and a lot more opportunity.
Right, and yet there's still plenty of room for everybody. I mean, it never feels crowded. It never feels, claustrophobic. There's plenty of room for everybody to, do what they feel. I mean, we got room for the blankets and the chairs, and plenty of room up front of the stage for the, crushing up against the stage and giving the metal horns to all these badasses on stage. Yeah, it's it's so well organized, but yeah, we draw in plenty of people to make it look like a lot of fun without ever being. Ever feeling like we don't care about the audience experience.
That is a huge thing, right? I mean, the patrons are the bottom line for Jason, which is pretty awesome, right? Because I know that every year as things change, right? We got some climate issues, so it gets hot. Jason, a lot of times he'll have like the scrims put in or whatever they call them, the screens to kind of protect people. He'll have misting tents and all sorts of things that he can do to sort of protect the patrons and make sure that their comfort is there, all while making sure that the experience of the bands is awesome.
Well, speaking of objectively, is my first experience with Harefest, I had no background on what the event was about, other than I know, first and foremost, nothing exists like that here in Canada that I'm aware of. Perhaps it does now, but at that time when we played our first Harefest, it simply didn't exist. It was getting exported to me through Murray McVeigh of the Barracuda Camp, the Heart Tribute. Who, God bless him, made the connection between Aerosmith Rocks and Jason Feldman, and they had room for an Aerosmith tribute. They invited us down, and these Canadian guys come down, and sorry we were late. Daniel, I think you introduced us that night, and we hit the stage, and I hadn't even seen what it looked like from out front. So we came out, did our thing, and then I got off stage, and I watched in amazement this really what seemed to be of this very mature and extremely professionally and clockwork kind of festival that was of these tribute bands. And man, the bar, I will share objectively once again, the creme de la creme was Appetite that night. They closed the show, and I was like, this Mark Thomas cat, man, he really has dug into his character. And like you were all saying earlier, there's a huge difference between what gets put on that Harefest stage and a cover band that plays the music of. All of these dudes have studied not only the wardrobe, but the wardrobe changes, and they show up in something different. They keep it fresh. The players have done their homework with stomp boxes and years of guitars and what amplifier they should be using to sound like the record. Everybody's getting their penny worth big time when they come to one of these shows. And the closest I had seen was a triple band bill that I was fortunate enough to be part of as a tribute, but 2 nights. And then to be asked back consecutive years was just amazing, because we got to experience and watch all that growth. And what is Jason going to do this year to make it one better? And it was always started with, I heard from the audience and modified it based upon their comfort and their experience. And the bands were always, there was always an upgrade for us that was always built in, because Jason always played the festival. He knew what it was like to walk those boards. And that's what's really cool about working with Jay Fell, is that, he's just a guy from a band who ended up booking his friends in other bands, and he's gotten incredibly successful at it, and he's cultivated something really unique, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Mark,
absolutely,
I'm your office, man. The lighting is great.
Yeah, it's funny that when he does come back online, but I'm just going to tell it straight. Like, Mark found only the only reception he could find is in a Starbucks bathroom. So I love that. Man, take him over the team, buddy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
This couldn't be any more Spinal Tap that I had to pull
Yeah.
I have a latte. Double.
virtual echo going on. I mean, talk about a shit show. I mean, this is like
I'm just picturing the people outside the door wondering, what is this guy doing, man? He walks in there with a ponytail and he's just talking to himself for hours. But hey,
that kind of thing.
Dan Bozyk had to jump off here real quick, and so what I wanted to do is, at least for you guys if you're watching, you're going to see him a lot. You probably know his voice from the radio in Portland. He's a longtime radio fixture, but he's also going to be up there on stage a lot, introducing these bands and talking to you about the experiences at Harefest. Just to, as a general sense, I wanted to first of all thank you guys all for taking the time to do this. I think it's just awesome that we get together and hang. I want to point out to people real quick, and I'm going to lay the QR code here one more time. If you guys get your phones out, and you want to buy tickets to this, nail this QR right there. Go ahead and scan it. Grab your tickets. I'm going to give you guys a lineup really quick. So you guys, if you're watching this and you haven't yet bought your tickets, check this out. Thursday night, July 13th, 6 o'clock, the gates open. The first show is actually Radical Revolution, which is an 80s great cover band fronted by none other than Jason Feldman. That starts at 7 o'clock. Then, for the first time live at this event at 10:30 is a Spinal Tap tribute, None More Black. First big day, Harefest Day 1, Friday at 3 o'clock at the doors. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown real quick of the schedule. 4 o'clock, you got Blondie's tribute, Glass of Hearts. 5 o'clock, Crazy Train, which is an Ozzy and Black Sabbath tribute. 6 o'clock, Taken by the Sky, the Fleetwood Mac tribute. 7 o'clock, you got Third Stage, which is the Boston tribute. 8 o'clock, the MVP, Evan Barry, up there with Shoot to Thrill and AC/DC tribute. 9 o'clock, Dr. Crew, Motley Crue, got Marco Ferrari and the gang. At 10 o'clock, Queen Nation, which is the Queen tribute, of course. And then wrapping it up at 11 o'clock on Friday night, Grand Royale, the Beastie Boys tribute. At the day 2 point, they have a brunch. 9 o'clock, you have gates open and they have a brunch there. The Hippie Hollow stage, which is actually presented to you by Aviation Gin, starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you got your party on Friday night, just stay up all night and get the party on Friday and Saturday. 9 o'clock, Red Light Romeos, which is a 70s tribute. 11 o'clock in the morning, you got the Hall & Oates and Doobie Brothers tribute. 12:30, you got Space Cowboy, Steve Miller Band. At 2 o'clock, Jukebox Heroes, the Foreigner tribute. On the main stage, gates at that point open at 2 o'clock. And starting it off, Petty Fever, Tom Petty tribute at 3 o'clock, Mr. Frank. And 4 o'clock, Eagle Eyes, the Eagles tribute. 5 o'clock, Barracuda, which does Heart tribute, but also a good chunk of Led Zeppelin for you. 6 o'clock, you got Hysteria, the Def Leppard. 7 o'clock, Motor Breath, the Metallica tribute. 8 o'clock, Best of Both Worlds, the Van Halen tribute, which you get the best of. You get Sammy Hagar and you get David Lee Roth and all the good stuff that goes in between. 9 o'clock, Stone in Love, Journey tribute. And 10 o'clock will be the epic finale for Appetite for Deception from Guns N' Roses. The night wraps up at the Hippie Hollow stage with Pigs on the Wing, Pink Floyd tribute. All that you can find at harefest.com, but I want to make sure that people know that there is more bang for the buck than you're going to find anywhere else. A ton of tributes and a ton of talent, and I consider these guys all to be my buddies, so I'm excited to get to hang out with you guys in person. I miss y'all. So, man, thank you, Danny Dean from all the way from Canada. We got Marco from Seattle, Evan Barry all the way from Winterberry's abode in Canby. Frank Murray, thank you so much, and Mark Thomas from the bathroom. Man, can't thank you enough. Andrew's back again. I missed you, Andrew. So, last but not least, again, we want to thank Andrew Green. So, hey, Andrew, real quick to wrap this thing up, what does the Foreigner tribute have going on for this show? Anything special?
Not other than
okay, thanks.
Being well practiced.
I was waiting for him to be like, "Oh shit, we're still doing that."
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that kind of may have happened. We should probably get a practice and play these songs once or twice.
Well, somebody that's not represented here. We talked about it. Danny talked a lot about. Everybody here actually talked about seeing Appetite for the first time. But the person that's not represented on the show that should be another fixture for Harefest is Rich Ray, one of the most amazing singers, and just the dude that's fronting the Foreigner tribute has also fronted Ramble On Led Zeppelin tribute in the past. There's not a lot that guy can't do, you know.
He
So
did a Who thing
if
a
you
couple years
guys,
ago.
yes, right, yeah, everything. You know, he's got a Soundgarden tribute, I think, that he's fronting as well. So those won't be at Harefest this year, but who knows, you know. But guys, if you got here late and you didn't know what this is all about, this is 2.5 days of the greatest party that you're going to find this summer. You go to hairfest.com, you can see everything there. One more time, the last time I'm going to put a link here to the tickets. You can buy the tickets by scanning this ticket below and get there early because there will be a lot of people and a lot of good times to be had. So my thanks to Evan Berry and Frank Murray and Danny Dean and Marco Lago Ferrari and Mark Thomas and Andrew Green. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so grateful. You got here late and didn't know, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube, youtube.com/@accesskevin. And come meet me side stage at Harefest. Let me come party with you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you guys.
Kevin.
Have a good one, man. And I'll see you a week from tonight.
Love you, Kev.
All
All right.
See you there.
Love you too, guys. Take care, everyone.